Wasn't there some speculation that she was on Epstein's yacht?
Oh my gosh.
I'm searching for something to like about her, and it's so hard.
If you haven't noticed, my husband's very, very handsome.
They're ridiculous.
She suffers from such a rare disorder of being unable to just be a human.
H, that man loves me so much.
Why do you call him H? That's so dumb sounding.
Like, guys, you don't gotta do this. Please, I'm begging you to stop.
I know that I'm a great friend, and I know the kind of mom I am.
She is a malignant narcissist who cannot get enough of herself while she simultaneously plays the victim.
You just can't keep faking it. It's too hard.
Meghan Markle sat down for a podcast with Jamie Kern-Lima. And the fallout was immediate and brutal. Right away, critics like Maureen Callahan slammed the performance as completely inauthentic.
The beginning of that clip where she's like, oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
It's so inauthentic. This is why she was never going to be more than like a D-list actress on a basic cable show.
Here's Morgan, who knew her before she met Harry, agreed, saying this new persona is entirely fake.
I knew her a bit. She was nothing like that. She didn't speak like that. Her mannerisms weren't like that. This is all fake.
It's a far cry from the ambitious LA girl she once was, now replaced with a soft, mommy persona that many just aren't buying.
She was a real hard-nosed LA girl. Yeah. Now she's like this, oh, I'm soft, I'm mommy, I'm this.
Maureen Callahan believes this all stems from a desperate need for public approval and relatability, a goal she just can't seem to achieve.
The one thing she's dying for more than anything is for us to love her, and she can't get it across the finish line.
Even her attempt to look natural and makeup-free was called out by Megyn Kelly as just another calculated, intentional move to seem relatable.
She had the hair blown out. It was perfect. I do not believe that she was makeup free there. She didn't have eye makeup on, which is a different thing.
But Kelly's biggest issue was with the tears, or rather, the complete lack of them. She pointed out that while Meghan kept wiping her eyes, there was nothing actually there, calling it a classic actor's trick.
She also is pretending that she's crying. We zoomed in. There isn't a tear in sight. Look at this. Where's the tear?
A body language expert, Scott Rouse, backed this up, saying her facial expressions looked forced and faked.
This is fake. She knows exactly when that happened. The eye search she's got going on there, that's forced and faked, as is the facial expression.
This all feeds into the perception that she's crying for sympathy when there's really nothing to be a victim about.
I just think she's crying for sympathy, playing the victim, when there's nothing to be a victim about here.
And for many, there's absolutely no sympathy to be given for the privileged lifestyle she chose to live.
And there's also no sympathy to be granted for this lifestyle that she's chosen to live.
Bill Maher summed up the frustration perfectly, pointing out the absurdity of her complaining.
You're complaining about your hard life and you're so privileged. It's just so weird.
It's ridiculous. I totally agree.
The whole thing creates a disconnect, especially when she tries to sell herself as a wholesome, relatable mother.
She's trying to sell herself as this wholesome mother who's baking cookies and making tea, but we all know that that's not the truth.
Even her praise for Harry comes off as forced and unbelievable.
He's also a fox. If you haven't noticed, my husband's very, very handsome.
Have you ever heard somebody have to try so hard to be like, put it out there? I'm not buying it.
The performance on the podcast was bad enough, but critics argue it's just the tip of the iceberg, pointing to a deeper, more troubling pattern of behavior.
She is a malignant narcissist who cannot get enough of herself while she simultaneously plays the victim.
Maureen Callahan echoes this, describing her as a nightmare with zero self-awareness.
This woman looks to me like a malignant narcissist. This woman has zero self-awareness.
Candace Owens suggests it's an inability to be genuine on a basic human level.
She suffers from such a rare disorder of being unable to just be a human.
These accusations are backed by years of reports about her behavior behind the scenes, particularly with staff, as Megyn Kelly points out.
She's a bully. All the young women in particular who work for her quit in tears. She so wore them down and was so nasty.
This leads to the persistent claim that her entry into the royal family wasn't about love, but about money and status. Kelly is blunt about her belief that it was a calculated move from the start.
She's not important. She married for money. It's very clear she bagged the elephant. She was thrilled she became a, quote, princess.
And that claim is fueled by stories that she had her sights set on Prince Harry long before they ever met, completely contradicting her story of knowing nothing about the royals.
Denied being interested in the royal family, which she totally was. I know someone who knows the ex-husband who said she had a vision board with Prince Harry on it.
Piers Morgan agrees, seeing every action as part of a manipulative, money-motivated plan.
Everything they do seems so manipulative, calculated, PR motivated, money motivated.
Her controversial use of the Her Royal Highness title, even after she was told not to, is seen as further proof of this.
With the compliments of Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. Now, Her Royal Highness was an agreed upon, you can't use it.
Michael Knowles argues it's all about wanting the perks without the work.
She wants all of the privileges that go along with an identity. She doesn't want any of the responsibilities.
She wanted the fairy tale of being a princess, but not the actual duties that came with the job.
She runs into becoming a princess, but then when she realizes that you actually have to do things when you're a princess, then she says, I don't want to be a princess anymore.
Knowles draws a very clear line between a real princess, who is dedicated to service, and a pretend one, who is focused on selfish desires.
To be a real princess is to focus your life on the service of others and to restrain your individual desires.
And he argues that Meghan's behavior fits squarely into the actress category, someone who lives for the tabloids and begs for attention, rather than a dignified royal.
To be a pretend princess is to totally indulge your selfish desires and do whatever you want and be glamorous and live for the tabloids.
This fallout is massive, and it's fueled by the glaring contradictions that commentators like Bill Maher constantly point out, like their supposed desire for privacy, while simultaneously writing tell-all books.
You can't be, these people were so mean to us and we don't want all this attention, and then we write a book about how much we don't want attention.
Maher argues that their constant complaining and perceived fragility are the complete opposite of the quiet dignity exemplified by the late Queen. He suggests they should have taken a lesson from her steadfast approach to public life instead of demanding everyone cater to their every complaint.
You're just fragile. Take a hint from the Queen.
Never complain, never explain, and rarely be heard speaking in public.
Ultimately, Maher's frustration boils down to a refusal to play along with what he sees as their entitled and nonsensical demands. It's a sentiment shared by millions who are tired of being told to accept their narrative without question.
That's what's so annoying about them. They insist that you go along with their nonsense and their insanity and their fragility.
This constant need to air their grievances on a global stage has done real damage, according to Piers Morgan, who says they never stop trashing the very institution that gave them their platform.
These two never stop going on global media to trash the royal family and the monarchy.
And in doing so, Morgan argues, they're not just hurting their own family, they're actively chipping away at the mystique and magic of the monarchy itself, which is why so many people have come to despise their actions.
And each time they do it, they chip away the mystique and the magic and the popularity, and that's why I despise them.
The damage to their own reputation has been catastrophic. Maureen Callahan is blunt about how they are perceived in America.
What do Americans really think of Harry and Meghan? We despise them.
This isn't just an American or British sentiment. Callahan says the world at large has caught on. The act is up, and she believes they'll never be able to convince people that they're authentic again.
Will never convince America. The Brits are onto you, America's onto you, the world at large is onto you. You're never going to convince anyone that you're authentic.
Despite this, critics like Callahan are convinced that Meghan's quest for the spotlight will never end. No matter what happens in her personal life or professional career, the need for public attention will keep her in the headlines.
She is never going to go away. They could divorce, she will never go away.
Michael Knowles suggests the core problem is that for all their projects and public statements, they simply have nothing of substance to say.
If you want to be a public figure who is a thought leader, you need to have at least something to say.
This is where commentators like Joe Rogan come in, offering a high-level view on why celebrities like Meghan, who build their brands on shaky foundations, often can't sustain their projects.
That's why a lot of these celebrities that start these things, they can't keep up. You know, like the Meghan Markles.
Rogan boils it down to a simple truth. You can only maintain a public facade for so long. Eventually, the effort of constantly faking it becomes too much, and the entire structure collapses.
You just can't keep faking it. It's too hard.
This public collapse has also dredged up some of the most scandalous and persistent whispers that follow Meghan, including the unconfirmed but widely circulated speculation Joe Rogan highlighted about her past and potential connections to figures like Jeffrey Epstein and Prince Andrew.
Wasn't there some speculation that she was on Epstein's yacht? There was photos with her and Prince Andrew way back in the day when she was in her early 20s.
After all the drama, the cringe podcasts, and the harsh takedowns from figures like Rogan and Kelly, you really have to ask, what is actually left of the Sussex brand? We've seen a nonstop parade of critiques, from accusations of narcissism and playing the victim to a complete detachment from the reality of everyday people. It's become a fascinating, almost cautionary tale about what happens when royal tradition violently clashes with Hollywood ambition, and when constant demands for privacy are completely contradicted by what appears to be a relentless hunger for the spotlight. So, the big question remains, is this a permanent fall from grace, a brand damaged beyond repair? Or is this just another chapter in their chaotic story, with an even more desperate rebrand waiting just around the corner? Can they ever truly win back public trust after so many missteps? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.